Don't worry, folks, I'll be right with you. I'm just giving this flux capacitor a bit of a kick. It's not going. It will be soon, though. Oh, have I got some deep woo to get into? Some rants, some laughs. We're going to have a good time today. Okay. I was chilling out. I was enjoying the tunes, you know, kicking back in the chat room with all you good people out there. Let's see who we've got today. I know we've got Nana in there. Seen Nana in early. Seen Jason in there. Holly Nation. Sidvich all the way from Norway. Our Norwegian contingent in the house. We got Freddo from Portugal. Dang, we're spreading our tentacles right across Europe here. We've got Holly in there, Gordon, John, Cosmos, Kramer, like it, Jason, like I mentioned, Susie Lewis, and ZX81 or 82. We've got a story coming up on this stream that's going to be very, very relevant to people from Wales. Yes, you see, I keep my listenership in mind. I know where you come from. You see, it might not seem like it at times, but I really do. I try to note where people are from. I'm going to try and bring in some kind of local information for that geographic location. And as you can see, I've changed the little kind of layout here a little bit. One of these days, folks, one of these days, I'll finally be happy with what we've got with the chat room and the stream layout here. But it's looking kind of cool, looking kind of good. We're good to go. How are you all doing out there? I haven't even nearly finished the chat room yet. We've got Dead in the chat room. He's not literally dead. We've got Ian, and he's saying if there was no consciousness, there would be nothing to perceive or observe time, or even reality for that matter. And we are going to be talking a little bit of time as we go on in today's stream. And I'm not going to be able to give you any definitive answers. I'm going to give you lots of speculation, lots of hypothesis, lots of ideas. But there's absolutely no one on this planet that I can think of, nobody alive today anyway, that really could explain time and what it is to us. Because how could we possibly know what this reality is all about? You know, and we come up with our ideas, we pursue different avenues, but in reality, I mean, are we even close to explaining the nature of life, reality, and how everything works? Maybe with our perception we are. However, you know, if that takes us closer to the actual truth or not, that remains to be seen, right? So yeah, we're going to get into some good time woo. I'm going to have a rant about some time woo as well. Pesky time travel liars we're going to get into in just a moment. But let me go back to the chat room. We like to do the chat here. We'll get some music on in the background, try to think what's apt for this. You know, we'll probably go for some of this. That'll do while we do the chat room. We have got ZX. Yes, did I sneeze? No, you didn't sneeze, or did you sneeze? We've got Queen Goddess in there, Amanda Pomander as well, the one and only Kristen. You were much missed over the weekend, Kristen. I really did. So then, we've also got, we've said Nana, said Fred. We've got Louisa in there as well. Lothar. Scrolling down, Jimbo in there. Ian again. Valley, Renzo, you're an absolute demon, and I say that in the best possible sense. You love to stream, and I think we'll have to get you on here one day, maybe at the weekend or something. We'll get you on the stream, we'll chill out, we'll geek out, and we'll have a laugh. So yeah, check out Renzo. I've seen a lot of people in the Discord server talking about Renzo's streams. Seems to be getting a very positive review. It's real people, real streaming, much like you get on the KBS afternoon session here. Don't think either myself or Renzo are going to solve the mysteries of the universe, But damn, it's going to have good fun talking about it, right? So if you want to support the stream before we go off on our chrononautic adventures this afternoon, remember there's various ways to do that. You can become a member. You unlock all of the emojis. And what you do to become a member is you click the join button down below, or there's a link if you're on the mobile app as well. So please, please, please check that out. That gets you the shoe. We finally got the shoe. We're 23 new members away from the next emoji, which all of you are going to help to decide out there. And also you can consider PayPal. I really, really appreciate PayPal. Or you can chip into the AI assisted Brian, the AI. He'll read out your personal message. I've got the filter set real low. Nothing gets edited out. You know, within reason, folks, within reason. Yes, you can take advantage of the super chat as well. Any way that you can support the stream is so appreciated. And even if you can't, I'm going to be here every day anyway, right? So let's get into it. Let's set off on our time travel adventures. And ever since I was a wee guy, always loved the thought of time travel. Who hasn't, right? I'm sure all of you out there, whether you believe that it's possible or not, at some stage you've thought about it, right? I would imagine. And what kind of period in the past we would like to go back to, what historic events maybe we would like to see. Perhaps some people would like to go back to the time of Jesus, see what was happening back then. I'd probably end up at the building of the pyramids. It's kind of inevitable. I would end up there at some point. But whatever it is, you know, it's something I would imagine we've all thought about. And it's one of my favourite topics. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine. Even if I'm not talking about it much on the show, anytime time or time travel or time anomalies comes up, I'll be clicking it. I'll be reading into it. But there is a certain segment within the time travel community, shall we say, that may not be everything that they appear to be. And I've tackled these liars and LARPers before, but again today, I knew right away when I seen the headline what I was going to be getting. But with new people coming to YouTube all the time, and with time travel being one of the topics that really appeals to most people out there, it can be the perfect clickbait. So I think it's my duty to point out one of the biggest clickbait LARP time travel-esque factories on the internet today. Again, I've done this from time to time, and I love you Australians, you know I do. But when I see shenanigans, especially in the field of, the serious field of chrononautics, I don't even know if that's the word, I'm going to make it up. Chrononautics, that's our word for the day, right? But in the field of time travel, it really irks me when I see people that may not be telling the truth. So what am I talking about here? And the headline, it's the kind of thing that all of us would have clicked right away. Oh, please tell me it's going to come up here. Come on, don't do this to me. There it is, folks, there it is. Time traveler from 2300 says that future computers manipulate time in a bonkers clip. Now, I'm going to refresh the page because it moved on from this genius here. Now, this is the said time traveler, and he has disguised his identity. We're going to learn that they disguise their identity, you know, because, you know, in case the deep state or governments or some secret scientific labs want to get a hold of them and things. It's nothing to do with the fact that they're hiding their identity, because somebody would say, hey, I went to school with that lunatic. Or look, there's Bob from down the road. He's not a time traveler. I've known Bob all his life. But we're going to get into it now, right? I'm going to turn it up here. We're going to see what this has to say. And Apex TV, if you try and strike me for this, I will be absolutely irked. I'll fire up my time machine and we'll go back and I'll sort you lot out. I truly will.
The cities were governed by a computer. I asked a great many questions about this computer, and I asked, was it malfunctioned?
Okay, so there's a computer that runs things in the future in the year 2300. Probably not that hard to predict it. I would say if we're still here in the year 2300, and we continue on our current technological curve, you better believe it's going to be a PC or some quantum mainframe or some AI that's going to be at the top of the pile in the future, right? So let's see what else he's got to tell us from the year 2300, after all. So we can get into this. Don't worry, I've got more on this when we listen.
They told me that there was no chance of any malfunction. And this computer was much smarter and much more advanced than any person could possibly be.
That time traveling takes its toll on you, right? It's a latex mask he's wearing, folks, because, again, you know, he doesn't want anyone from, like, our time period here knowing who he is. I mean, governments might be after him, things like that, right? Nothing to do with the fact that his neighbours are going to recognise him. People that went to school with him are going to say, oh, no, not Bob again. Surely not Bob. What's he up to this time? Bob, what are you doing, man? Come on, you're not a time traveller, Bob.
The computers could manipulate time and do things that you or me may call magic.
So we've waited for this time traveller to come back, and this is the knowledge that he imparts on us. Now, for people who don't know about Apex TV, let me just read a little bit about this, okay? This comes from the Daily Star, one of the red top tabloid clickbait, pretending to be mainstream news kind of tabloid. This is the kind of stuff that they peddle in, okay? It says, a man who claims to have travelled back in time from the year 2300 says computers are far more advanced than humans in an utterly bonkers video. Gerald Garner claims, so he's not called Bob, but really he is called Bob in real life. Trust me. Trust me, folks. Trust me, I'm on the internet, right? It's got to be true. Gerald Garner claims to have travelled to the 24th century and back. Oh, right, so this guy's actually from our time. He's travelled there and he's came back. The so-called time traveller discussed his so-called top secret journey and stated that in an attempt to clear his conscience, he needed to speak out in a recent video with Apex TV. In the bizarre clip, Gerald said the cities were governed by a computer. Now, here's the thing, folks, and here's my problem with this. And you can call me skeptical, you can call me, some kind of debunker, some kind of shill for the time conspiracy that's going on. I don't know what people are going to say, right? But why is it that when it comes to these time travelers, old Gerald here, well, I don't know if he's old. It's hard to tell with that bonkers mask he's got on. There he is there. Right, there's Gerald. Why is it that they all, without fail, turn up a bizarre, kind of obscure YouTube channel called Apex TV? Why do they go there? Why do these people that have these top secret missions that they've been on, why do they go to Apex TV to share this? Now, I know the most hardened conspiracy theorist out there is going to say, well, Kev, you couldn't trust the mainstream media to tell your story, right? Granted, I get that. But I'm sorry, folks, when we take a look at Apex TV, which we're going to do, and you see the abundance of time travelers that turn up there, you're going to see what I'm talking about here. They've got 1.14 million subscribers, okay? People love this stuff. It is clickbait central. So let's go to the videos. Okay, so right here we've got Gerald, like we were talking about there. And then, as you'll see, we have an Our Time Traveller shows what the future aliens look like. Time Traveller reveals Earth looks like. Is time travel possible? The truth about Noah, the time traveller. Noah was somebody that they used when they really first burst onto the time travel market. And I say that because if you go back far enough, you will see they weren't a time travel channel to begin with. But after Noah, and after bajillions of clicks, thanks to stories by papers or websites like The Star, The Express, The Mirror, you know, it elevated them to this huge channel that they are now. So we keep going down. I'm a time traveler from 2063, but nobody believes me. Probably because you turned up on Apex TV. Time traveler from 2075 gives warning. Time traveler took this picture of a dinosaur 66 million years ago. Wow. And then a time traveler took these pictures in the year 3311. Time traveler from 20. You see where I'm going with this, folks? Is it just me that smells a big, huge rat when it comes to this? I think I really need... I think it's justifiable clown music. I'm sorry, but it has to be done. The time clowns. Like I say, these people are time travel liars. That's what they are. These people ain't time travelers, folks. They're time travel liars. More time travelers. Do they have the world's first working time machine? Am I not giving them enough credit over at Apex TV? Am I being too cynical? Am I just not keeping up with the times? Consider time traveling with Apex TV. We have got a lovely reward scheme. Travel 5,000 years to the future and we will make you an internet star. You know what this does, though, on a more serious note, folks? You know what this does? And remember, folks is an acceptable term that I can use. It was on that video. I know I can... Later on in the show, I'll call you scholars. Don't worry about it. But you know what channels like this do, folks? It makes a mockery and an absolute joke out of the true heroes and heroines and theys and its and those of the future that do time travel, that do have working flux capacitors. Imposters, like you see on Apex TV, make it hard for the genuine time travelers to get noticed. And then they realise the only place I can bloody go is some obscure YouTube channel in Australia. Apex TV it is then. I know I'm going to run the risk of the wrath of Kev Baker for being a time travel liar. Because they are time travel liars. But time travel, pretty cool topic, right? Can we? Can't we? And we've got this thing, of course, called space-time, where scientists in the past, namely Albert Einstein and a few others, have shown that time and space, as we know it, in our reality, are fundamentally linked. It's space-time. It's not space and time, it's space-time and our movement through this four-dimensional and more, or at least the four that we can perceive, universe, simulation, call it what you will. Now, does that mean that we just cannot ever time travel? It's something we can't do? Is it something that we can't go back to the future? Are there some rules involved when it comes to time travel? Or, as I hypothesize, are there many, many, many other timelines where things are almost identical to the way that they are here, but not quite? And you start getting into the whole kind of idea of many worlds theory, stuff like that. And on a show last week, I got into the whole kind of weird idea about time that I was having, that there was a Kev now, a you now, and there was a version of you, a version of me, 30 years down the line in a cycle. folks, I'm not telling you this is what's happening, right? But in this many worlds thing, it doesn't rule this out. It could be. And then there's a younger Kev, a younger you, 30 years behind. And at certain times, certain events, you get memories. This you now, present you, will get memories of things you were doing in school, people you used to know, and they're so vivid. And I was kind of saying, well, why out of all the memories you've amassed in the years you've been here, why that specific one? Why is that being recalled at this time? And then you have people that have premonitions. They have almost prophetic type dreams where they see the future. Are we really accessing something that hasn't happened yet? Or are we seeing through the eyes and accessing a memory of future self or future consciousness that's already there? Oh, deep woo, deep woo. I told you there'd be deep woo today. I told you there'd be deep woo. And of course, when you get into time travel and things like this, it makes me think about, like I was saying, dimensions. You know, the fact that we do have this many worlds, there could be other universes. Although at that point, is it a universe? Are we not just one of something within the multiverse? And as Geordie Rose, old Geordie Rose said to me, we can see Geordie here, it was a really, really interesting kind of conversation. We can't see him, he's not there today. But when I said other dimensions, parallel dimensions, he was kind of really, really specific about how to language that, how to word it. And it was parallel realities. And I think one of the best shows I've ever seen about something you would call a parallel reality, while I pour my tea here, is the TV show Fringe, right? And my good friend Nancy from Canada, she's in a group on Facebook where they watch Fringe once a week. They get together on Zoom, they watch TV shows, stuff like that. I think that might be something we'll start looking at with the KBS Discord server. We'll pick some kind of cool sci-fi show and we'll just binge it, you know, we'll talk about it, we'll watch it week after week, something like that anyway. But in Fringe, they have here this verse and the alter verse, where there's a copy of Kev, copy of you, copy of this show, copy of YouTube. You get the idea, but slight things have deviated and changed along that timeline that make it not quite the same as here. Alter Kev wouldn't be quite the same as this Kev because we've had two entirely independent, although similar, kind of life experiences along the way to that point in time where we are now. And within the TV show Fringe, something really, really important comes up, and it was J.J. Abrams. This was one of his first shows, and I love how his mind works. He's gone on to become one of the biggest producers in Hollywood. But when you look at the way they deal with this multi-dimensional reality in Fringe, you come across something called the Observers. Now, the Observers, they've got different names and they've got months of the year as their names. It's a long story, too long to get into. But my point being, there's these individuals, and as you can see here, not exactly the men in black. However, you could pretty much make the comparison, right? And the TV show Fringe, it has these observers in there. And I would imagine, folks, I don't know how this translates to the real world, right? But if one of these cats that turned up at Apex TV, say this cat here, old Gerald or whatever his name was, yeah, Gerald, or as I call him, Bob, I think the minute something like that happens, they tear some hole into our time continuum, our universe, they appear here, they're going to be sought after by, for argument's sake, let's call them the time police, okay? The chrono cops. I like that, right? Time TraveLIARS and chrono cops. Because I think there is something out there, and there's some kind of deeper thing going on with not the observers and the men in grey and blue suits, but the men in black, ladies and gentlemen. And this is where the synchronicity comes into this show. Because we've started here about time, we get into the observers, and then I start getting into the men in black. And where's the synchronicity come? Well, the synchronicity comes from one of our listeners, Armand Adams. He was on my show recently, and he gave me a book, The Mothman Prophecies. I keep talking about this book, and it's not just about the Mothman, because it gets into these weird and wonderful and strange individuals that are the men in black. Wait. We need something far more dramatic for the men in black, don't we? Will we go like, will we invert it? Will we play The White Hats Are Coming? Don't go messing with time continuums, folks. The chrono cops will get you. Veltman, get back to your own time period. I see you slipping in and out of our dimension. I see it, dude. Dropping that wisdom. Next time we see Lee Veltman, ladies and gentlemen, you know where he's going to be? Apex TV. What is time? Is it even real? Is it something that our quantum bags of water with all that processing power have come up with and constructed to try and make sense of this reality that we're trying to plot our way through? Do the aliens turn up here and laugh at the fact that we measure something at the atomic scale that in reality, outside of our prison planet, doesn't even exist? That was kind of cool, right? That's kind of dramatic. I was getting myself going there. I was wondering what was coming next. Where do we go from here? So the men in black, yes, ladies and gentlemen, something weird about the men in black. And it's not just that they're these weird feds that turn up when this happens or something strange happens or UFOs are seen. No, this goes way bigger than this. And I only really got a small indication, or started to get an indication of just how vast a topic the Men in Black is by listening to the audiobook by John Keel, The Mothman Prophecies. And I'm going to keep promoting that book because if you're into my kind of woo, you're going to love this stuff. And he really went about it in such a professional way back in the 60s and 70s, trying to research a topic that there was no internet. And he wasn't just researching UFOs and Mothman. He was researching all the kind of things that go or make you go woo in the night. So the Men in Black, where's the synchronicity really truly come in? Well, first story I came across today over on Mysterious Universe deals with this. It's the strange visitors part. You know, when we think of the Men in Black, I think we have certain connotations that are attached to that. Will Smith movies, things like that. But the Men in Black and the strange visitors that includes the Men in Black and so many other sizes, shapes, and forms of visitor, that this is a bigger phenomenon than I think people realize, okay? Because it's not just your stereotypical G-men from the government that turn up, no. Highly, highly strange individuals, almost out of place, and dare I say it, out of time. I don't mean they're in a rush to get somewhere. I mean they're not from this time. Something is off about them. So let's take a little look here at what Nick Redfern has been saying. Right, I've got the pen in hand. Nick Redfern. I've had Nick on the show before, but thanks to the algorithm wars of 2018, I lost that show from the archive. It's still on tfrlive.com. But I think it's time to get Mr. Redfern back on air so we can simulcast some woo. It says, now settle down, folks. We'll get the dramatic stuff on in the background here. We'll get some scary stuff on. Will we get the scary stuff on? Where's the scary stuff, says Kev? There it is. There it is. See? Like some bloody vampire coming down your driveway. I'm not really a vampire, folks. Stop it. I'm not that bad. And even if I was, you wouldn't be able to criticise me anyway. So there. Keep your garlic to yourselves. So the men in black, what's really going on here? And are they part of a bigger phenomenon? Well, it was while he was on the trail. Let's turn this down a little bit. It was while he was on the trail of a UFO wave in Devon, UK in 1997 that UFO researcher and author Nigel Wright spent time at the Exeter Public Library in an effort to determine if there had been other waves of paranormal activity in the area in the years long gone. Public libraries, eh? Isn't that a form of time traveling? When was the last time that you were in a library? Maybe you people still go to libraries, I don't know, but a long time ago for me. I would say probably 2001, 2002. That's shocking. Shocking. Shows how the world has changed, though. And it was while doing so that Wright stumbled upon the May 21st, 1909 edition of England's Exmouth Journal newspaper, titled Invasion Scares, Queer Stories from Humberside. You wouldn't get away with that anymore, right? You couldn't call something that in today's politically correct insanity. The article reads as follows. A strange story was told to the Yorkshire Post, Grimsby correspondent, by workmen from Killingholme near Immingham New Dock, works on Tuesday night. Now, they declared that they were seated at noon on the roadside at Killingholme when a large motor car drove up and two men alighted who walked to the bank on which the workmen were seated and asked if any airships had recently been seen. The workmen replied no, whereupon the motorists asked the assistant or the distance between Killingholme and Spurn and whether any mines were laid in the Humber between the two places. Saying he would be able to answer them, the workmen referred their interrogators to a coastguard, saying he would be able to answer them. It does not matter, replied the motorists, and after inquiring the way to the nearest refreshment house, they jumped into their car and drove quickly away. This is typical behaviour of the Men in Black. That's definitely not Men in Black music, right? Pulling up in a car, asking questions about unusual aerial vehicles, and driving off. Again, except for the fact that it's a rarity to find a pre-1947 report of such activity. It may well have been Wright's persistent digging into such matters, and specifically into the matter of the MIB, that led to a dreaded knock on the door. In this case, however, the visitor was a WIW, a woman in white. Oh, I've not heard of these before. In 2015, Nigel Wright told me it was right when we were in the middle of that huge UFO wave, and I had gone to an evening meeting of John's Exeter Strange Phenomenon Research Group, and my wife Sue was in the flat that we lived in Exmouth. Now, there was a knock at the door. Sue went to answer it, and when she opened the door, there stood a lady all in white. It was a lovely, sunny, early evening, and the woman was dressed in a long white coat, pink trousers, white headscarf, and a little bit of a black fringe poking through, and huge black sunglasses that wrapped right around, and very pasty-looking skin, which was rather weird, to say the least, with it being hot and sunny. Sue said something like, "Hello, can I help you?" And she asked if I was there. Sue said, "No, he's out at the moment." And the woman then said that I'm working from memory now of what Sue told me when I got home that night. This thing he is doing with the UFOs, tell him to stop it right away. Sue asked why, and this woman didn't say another thing at all. She just stared for a moment, then turned and walked down towards the gate. Then something strange happened. The road we lived on was a long, dead, straight road, about 150 to 200 yards in each direction. Now, as the woman went down the path, Sue turned to pick up our youngster, who was crying, and when she turned back again about 10 seconds later, there was no sign of her in either direction. Sue went to the road to look both ways, and there was no one. As far as Sue could see, she had just vanished. Now, it was a very odd because just the night before this all happened, I had a hypnotic regression done on a blocked experience from when I was a kid, in which I think I was taken on board a UFO. And I actually discussed all this at John's meeting, which would have been the same time the woman was visiting the house. That warning to keep off sounds terribly familiar, doesn't it? And yes, it most certainly does. It says mysterious visitors linked to UFOs have been around longer than many might assume. And that's the big takeaway when you get into the work of John Keel, because he is the guy that's really opened up this phenomena to me. We've all heard it, like I said, about the men in black, but this is a huge, huge, huge kind of topic to cover. And there's so many different variants within this one subject. You know, like I was saying, in that example there in the story that Nick Redfern covered, it was a woman in white. But when you go through John Keel and he references and actually archives all the reports of not all the stuff he actually experienced, but other people as well. You've got strange phone calls, you've got people turning up, you've got people pretending to be neighbours and things like that, phoning up with warnings about the topics they're looking into. You've got people that can barely speak English turning up and asking the weirdest of questions. Like I say, almost as if they're out of time. Now, not all of them turn up wearing your stereotypical black suits. And I think we're doing the whole topic a disservice if we just stick to calling it the Men in Black. And this comes from the Mothman.com, fandom.com, and it's like their Wikipedia. It's about all the things that Keel writes about in the book. And this is from the Point Pleasant flap, the Mothman flap, West Virginia mystery. And it says the Men in Black. The Men in Black, or MRB or MIB, are mysterious strangers that reportedly attempt to threaten witnesses and reporters of strange occurrences such as the Mothman into silence. They are sometimes thought of as damage control, as if it was their job to contain and stifle information from getting out to the public. Some were reported as having dark features, an Eastern European look, expressionless faces, and strange eyes, sometimes covered by dark sunglasses. Their movements often appear to be inhumane in nature. Now, they usually travelled in groups of 2 or 3, and they had the knack of knowing things about witnesses that they taunted, things that only the witnesses knew. There were even reports of them being masters of illusion by way of being able to make themselves appear and disappear without trace. Some have reported them carrying sophisticated gadgets, and one time a woman claimed that the MIB erased part of her memory. Now, we're going back to the 60s here, folks, and them carrying sophisticated gadgets. The fact they were able to blink in and blink out of existence. Could it be that they are literally some kind of chrononauts, chronocops? Could it be that they are something entirely different that we haven't even considered? Are they just an expression of the same energy that produces the UFOs and some of the demonic stuff and some of the poltergeist stuff and some of all the things that make us go bump in the night? And are we engineering some of them ourselves? With so much talk about the Men in Black, you have to take into account tulpamancy, that thing where you take a thought form and enough people start thinking about it consciously and subconsciously, and that thought form, something that came from the realms of fiction, the corner of somebody's mind, before you know it, it actually manifests. Well, I think we're dealing with all of the above when it comes to the Men in Black, right? Because we come down here, say strange imposters. Some MIB are even reported to dress in Air Force or military uniforms, but always with something just a bit wrong, such as the insignia being in the wrong place, wearing the wrong shoes, or driving a car that is not standard for a military officer. Now, Mrs. Randolph Butler of Owatonna, Minnesota, said an officer visited her in May of 1967. He went by the name of Richard French. Now, he was 5'9" tall, had an olive complexion, dark hair, and a pointed face. His clothing appeared to be brand new. Even the soles of his shoes were clean and unscuffed. And when Mrs. Butler offered him some Jell-O, he tried to drink the Jell-O and acted as if he had never seen it before. Now, these strange men impersonating officials and authority figures are also referred to by the term the Men in Black. And the Men in Black are said to have strange eating behaviours. Witnesses say that they didn't know how to use a knife and a fork, and that waitresses had to come over and show the man how to cut his steak. They didn't chew their food. They just kind of swallowed it. Many thought of them as mysterious beings of unknown origin, poorly pretending to be human. And then down here it's got phantom photographers, another thing that Keel gets into. Says then there was the phantom photographers who would take photos of witnesses or investigators using a camera that had a blindly bright flash which could surprise or disorientate the person while the stranger ran or drove away. Almost as if they're documenting some of these things that are going on. But it's this whole part that they're so out of place. Don't know how to use a knife and fork, drinking Jell-O, weird stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense. Not only do they not sound like they're from our time, it sounds like they're from somewhere entirely different altogether. In October 1967, a man in Ohio was returning home from work. He opened the door to his apartment to find an intruder standing in his living room. The man said, "I think he dressed all in black. I couldn't see his face, but he was about 5'9". I started to fumble for the light switch when he took my picture. There was a bright flash of light, so bright I couldn't see a thing. The stranger darted past him and went out the open door. Nothing had been stolen. These photographers would also take pictures of houses after the owner had been witnesses to something strange. They'd pull up in black Cadillacs. They would take out a big tripod and heavy camera, set it on the tripod, snap a picture of the house, and then put it back in the car and quickly drive away without ever going up to the door or contacting them. Some would drive up to the house of a witness and who had just had a baby, and say they were professional photographers who wanted to take pictures. The new parents were delighted and agreed to have it done. The men would set up their equipment, take the pictures, give the people the business card with the neighbouring town listed, then drive away and never return to sell them the photographs. Now, this goes on and on and on about various different MIB stories, the various shapes and forms that they appear in, various encounters, and I'm going to drop that in the chat room. So we've been talking time, we've been talking the Men in Black, we've been talking women in white. I've probably triggered the racism kind of algorithm now because I'm talking about colours. You know how that rolls, folks. But what do you think about all of this? Because in the end of the day, that's the major part of the afternoon stream, right? It's not just me sitting here rabbiting away and speaking to myself, it feels like at times. It's about you out there as well. So let me shove on some tunes, let you think about that. Remember to tag me in the chat room, and I'll be going to the chat room when we come right back. we've got a Men in Black story from the chat room coming up. Oh, yeah. Chat room in a moment, but don't forget, don't go anywhere, folks, because we've still got one story to go, and it's about the Welsh dragons. Yes, indeed. So let's get right back into this. In the chat room, we're going to go to Lady. Can I say that? I'll say it anyway. You know I'm not being offensive. It's somebody called Holly in the chat room. Holly Noel. I love that. Very Christmassy. I love it. But it says here, when I was a little girl, two men in black in a black older car tried to pick us up by the road. But our mum trained us never to get into a stranger's car, and we ran home. Wow. Now, obviously, thoughts immediately spring to mind of bad people, but the old car seems to be something that comes up time and time again when it comes to the whole MIB or strange visitor phenomenon. So let's keep going down here, see what Holly says. It says, not sure if they were wearing hats, but they had the sunglasses on. Again, like we heard there, definitely a telltale sign that we might have been dealing with something in this realm. So we have... Dead says, I'm done if Quinn Michaels is a man in black. Oh, Quinn. Dang, that was an experience watching that channel slip into insanity. It really was. But going back to Holly... She says when this happened to her, she was 7 and Kathy, her friend, was 9, or it was her sister. Either way, it doesn't matter. Let's keep going down. Let's see what Holly's is saying. So it says here, Tim Greenglass, every year hundreds of children vanish. It's a dark secret. Sold into bad stuff, slavery. Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope it's not the Men in Black doing that, though. Hopefully not. Says Annabelle, back in 1909, they would never have heard of the MIB, so seems they are real something. I think they've been around all over time, Annabelle. This is what I'm starting to think. We call them Men in Black nowadays. That's a popularized term. But like you were saying, in 1909, they might just have been strangers. And with the inability to share our experiences at the touch of a button like we have now, you're going back to a time when it was a telegraph and things. You know, so maybe there was a bigger phenomenon that was happening around that time. Maybe if we go back further again, maybe historically, there's going to be reports of strangers, out of place people just showing up. You know, there was the story of the green people that turned up in an English village. That sounds crazy, right? Wait a minute. Ben Emlyn Jones, he's the master on this one. Green children. There it is, of Woolpit. These people turned up. Look at this here. The legend of the Green Children of Woolpit concerns 2 children of unusual skin colour who reportedly appeared in the village of Woolpit in Suffolk, England, sometime in the 12th century. Perhaps during the reign of King Stephen. The children, brother and sister, were of generally normal appearance, except for the green colour of skin. Now, they spoke in an unknown language and they would only eat raw broad beans. Eventually, they learned to eat other food and lost their green pallor. But the boy was sickly and died soon after he and his sister were baptized. The girl adjusted to her new life, but she was considered to be rather loose and wanton in her conduct. After she learned to speak English, the girl explained that she and her brother had came from St. Martin's Land, a subterranean world inhabited by green people. Can we handle much more woo today, ladies and gentlemen? Can we go even deeper into the woo right here? So we're going to go back to the chat room. Holly says, this happened to her. Wow, 1965. Why do I say wow? Because that was at the time when Keel was writing about this wave of things going on, both in the Ohio Valley and around West Virginia, the Mothman, that kind of thing. Wow. So let's go back to the chat room. It says, hold on, my brain is older than it used to be, and now I have to count. I experience that more often than I'm comfortable with. But don't tell anyone. It's the joys of getting old, right? It says, see you later, Kristen. I think Kristen's away. Kristen's away somewhere. Kristen, you have a good one. If you are away, I've probably read that wrong. So Mr. Stonley's talking about time travelers from the future. See Holly there. It was in summer, and it happened in Little Ole or Little Ole in Pennsylvania, afternoon. Sounds like the Black-Eyed Children. You know, maybe we could put them into the same category. Says, Jag, hey, you done with your errands? And of course, Jag is just a guy. Absolutely brilliant dude. Love you, Jag. We have got Matthew says, Soylent Green does not require a lot of chewing or a steak knife. Love it. Mannerus, sorry. A big hey you to you as well. We've got Queen Goddess saying, hi, Mannerus. I know I'm getting worse instead of better at the chat, right? But here she is again, Holly. It's okay. I wouldn't believe it either. Whoa, listen, hey. Listen, you're in the right place to share stories like this. I would hope nobody is judging one of your personal experiences that you've had. And it says here, but it's just something weird. Another little girl did get into another car another time, and we were screaming for her not to. They were a man and a woman. Same location. Let's scroll down for Holly again. I'm looking for more from Holly. In a station wagon. And it says, I don't truly know. And that's the answer to our man's question about whether there was a UFO flap going on at the same time. And we keep coming down. It says here, snakes don't use forks either. Polly says, how do you get Jell-O out of a test tube? Matthew, black-eyed children. Oh, that's cool. There's a black-eyed child emoji. Oh, that's cool. Awesome. Kristen, I just make Jell-O shots. Let's see. Oh, there we are, Holly. But my sister and I have had experiences at that house. Oh, this is getting fascinating. I'm scrolling down for more from Holly. Mountains and great hidey spots. Peas in a pod. I think we've caught up with the chat room. I think we're about there. I think we're almost there. So then, Holly, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for that. Was really, really cool. And I love personal stories like that. For me, they're equal to, if not even more interesting than listening to people that have wrote books about it and investigated the stuff. Talking about first-hand experience. And I get it, folks, and I'm not talking to you here, Holly, but in general, we can only take first-hand experience for what it is. It's anecdotal. It's hearsay. It is nothing we could go to a court and say, look, God damn you, the Men in Black are a real thing. I get that, okay? But at the same time, just because it's somebody's personal experience and we weren't there to share it, doesn't mean it wasn't real, okay? And we do know there's a lot of woo out there that makes things go bump in the night. Or as I like to say, woo in the night. So one last story before I let you go today. Can't hang about too long because I've got to go and get the dinner on. I do my domestic engineer thing. Yeah, it totally kind of clashes with my toxic male persona that I like to wear with pride, you know, the beard coming on and things. You know what I'm saying, folks. But no, I'll be back tonight on the Kev Baker show. So I hope to see you all there. But the next story is a big shout out, a tip of the hat to all of our good people from Wales. Susie, ZX, Half Q, a lot more as well. I've probably offended about 5 or 6 people that I forgot there. But I'm trying. So Holly says, I'm sorry, my sound was off for the past 5 minutes. Didn't realise you were talking. That's okay, Holly. That's all right. That's cool. You come back tomorrow, you share more of this, and we'll read out more. I enjoy doing that. I do. It's like I say, it's about all of us. It's not just me sitting here putting on some kind of half-assed, lame attempt at a show. It's where we can all just come and chill out. I imagine, like I say, it's just chilling out. I almost forgot. Today's show, no, I'm only joking. Bloody wish it was sponsored by them. The amount of time I give them on air. And I know, it's bad for you, Kev, it's bad for you. So are all the good things in life, folks. So are all the good things. So then, we go back for our last story of the day here anyway. There'll be a lot more of this kind of stuff, I think, tonight on the KBS show on TFRlive.com. We're going to talk about the strange and ancient tale of a Welsh dragon. It comes from our good friend again, Nick Redfern. It's not too long, so don't worry, folks. You won't have to put up with me reading badly for hours, anything like that. Well, that's not a good tune for some Welsh dragons. Here we go. Some Welsh dragon music. It's actually Viking music, but Welsh dragons will do, right? You won't hear it much anyway. But it feels good. It says, an approximately 1 mile long body of water. Oh, I'm going to butcher this. And Clwyd, North Wales. Lynn Sinwich Lake. Oh, Welsh people are going to want to torture me. Is renowned for the story of its resident monster. Let's get that off. A wyvern or a wyvern. A story that dates back centuries, although the precise date is admittedly unknown. Now, within ancient legend, the wyvern was very much a dragon-like animal. You see, this is a thing, folks. These things that they say are myths and legends. They're myths and legends because they were about things that were very, very real. That's the truth of the matter, okay? So it says here, very much a dragon-like animal, one to be avoided at all costs. Reptilian and snorting, large and membranous wings of a bat-like appearance. Now it stood on 2 powerful legs and had a powerful tail that it used to sting and kill its prey, not unlike a scorpion. Now in some cases, and just like the dragon of old, the wyvern was said to occasionally breathe fire, all of which brings us to the monster of Lynn Sinwich Lake. Again, I'm sorry, Welsh people. I'm sorry. I know that's not how you pronounce that. Okay? So it says, for as long as anyone could remember, the lake and its surrounding landscape made for a peaceful and relaxing environment until the big dragon turned up, I would imagine. But all that changed when the deadly wyvern decided to swoop down on the lake and make its home there. Tranquility there was no more. The creature was undeniably monstrous. It was described by fear-filled locals as looking like a huge, coiling and writhing monster with a humped back and an undulating neck. Sounds like Nessie, right? On its back there were 2 wings, and its feet displayed razor-sharp claws of the kind that could tear a person to pieces. Its breath was reportedly poisonous and green in colour. In no time at all, the Welsh wyvern began to eat its way through the local population of sheep. Sheep? Really? Cattle and pigs. Terrified village folk stayed behind, locked doors after sun had set, which was when the beast typically surfaced from the waters of the lake. It was like a pesky vampire dragon. This just gets worse. The time came, however, when enough was well and truly enough. Something had to be done to combat the beast. Now listen, I ain't no soy boy. And I will stand and fight by the side of any of you out there. Unless it's against something that looks like this, okay? You don't go messing with characters and cryptids that look like this bad boy. You ever seen Game of Thrones? I see how this shit rolls all the time in fantasy programs. You don't mess with a dragon, especially not a pissed Welsh dragon, okay? So I don't know what happened to these village folk, but it says here, a local warlock. Now, you see, that's what you need on your side. If I had known I was going into battle with a wizard in tow, maybe I'd be there. You see? Not so cowardly now. Not yellow-bellied like the dragon here. Big man would be there. So just stand to. I'll be there in a moment. And the wizard was known as the Wizard of Glenwood. Ganwood? See, I'm going to butcher the names again. Can we call him Gandalf? The Wizard of Ganluid believed that he stood a good chance of slaying the deadly monster. Now, as he knew, all previous attempts to kill the animal had failed as a result of its noxious breath, causing instant death to anyone and everything close enough to be exposed to it. So, the wizard has a brainwave. He decided to eat hundreds of Welsh leeks, lots of Brussels sprouts, and created an impenetrable field of farts. Is that what he done? Probably not, but we'll have a look, right? Says he decided to round up a team of archers, good idea, who could shoot the wyvern from a safe distance. But it was all to no avail. Damn, not such a good idea. It was as if the beast had a sixth sense about it. Sixth sense? Or a sixth sense? One of the two. And whenever the bowmen were around, the wyvern would stay steadfastly below the surface of the water. Finally, there was a breakthrough, one which proved to be the turning point in the tumultuous affair. On one particular morning, a bright and sunny one, no less, the wyvern left the waters of the lake and slithered its way onto the shore. Goodness gracious, now it's sounding like the eel in Loch Ness as well. Is it a dragon in Loch Ness? Oh, God forbid. So it's a good conspiracy to start, though, right? On one particular morning, a bright and sunny one, the wyvern left the waters of the lake and slithered its way onto the shore, where it proceeded to bask under a hot sun, something which the monsters of Loch Ness have been doing something which the monster of Loch Ness has been seen doing on more than a few occasions. Now remember, I read these stories raw. It's like the first time. You remember the first time, right? Not that first time. The first time you read a story, you deviants. Man, oh man, what am I dealing with out there? Come on, folks, keep your mind out the gutter. So it says here, as luck would have it, a young shepherd boy named Meredith happened to be in the area and saw the beast asleep as he was directing his sheep to his father's farm. These shepherds, they're usually good cats, eh? History, when you look back, usually shepherds, good people, right? So the monster was deep in its slumber, as was evidenced by its hideous, skin-crawling snoring, which was more like the hiss of a gigantic snake. Its body moved rhythmically, its strange form glistening in wet weather. I just had to make sure we were on Mysterious Universe and not some, like, Reader's Wives segment of, I don't know, dungeon porn or dragonporn.com. It was getting a bit weird there. So it says, realising this was, quite possibly, the one time, more than any other, that the wyvern could be killed, Meredith raced to the nearby Kimmer Abbey and breathlessly told the monks of what he had just seen. Now, come on, dude, what are you doing, man? Unless these monks are like trained ninjas or something, they ain't the people to help you. What's going on here? So we go back, he asked for a much revered axe that hung in the abbey, suggesting that if anything could kill the wyvern, it was surely the axe. Now I'm back on with you. I like your thinking, shepherd, which allegedly possessed magical powers. So maybe we've got a wizard, we've got a magical axe. It's going well, right? I think we might be on a winner here, folks. The monks quickly agreed, and in mere minutes, Mirrodid was heading back to Quinich Lake for a battle to the death. I wonder what deal that poor attractive young shepherd had to make with the monks. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the part of the Welsh tale that shall never be told. Yes, the poor shepherd. It didn't end well for him. But of whose death exactly Mirrodid was not sure. Nevertheless, he was determined to do his very best to rid the area of the loathsome beast. Oh, look at it now, shape-shifting in colour too. Fortunately, as Mirrodid got back to the spot where the abomination lay, he could see that it had not moved. It was still sleeping. There was no time to lose. The young shepherd boy used all of his might to raise that magical axe over his head and then brought it down hard and fast on the neck of the monster. In a split second, the head was severed from the neck. This is turning into some dragon snuff. What are we reading here? The jaws of the severed head snapped wildly and widely in a fashion to that of a headless blue chicken, while the neck thrashed around for a few moments before falling limp on the grass. Are we still talking about a dragon? Because something else that flops around limp after a few seconds when you've had a hold of it by the neck. I don't know, folks. Maybe it's the blue chickens again. I don't know, right? The nightmare was over, no thanks to a powerful warlock, but all thanks to a young shepherd hand. And like I say, right after that, he had to go back to the monastery and the shepherd was never seen again. I'm only joking. Let's go to the chat room, folks. But that was a cool story. That was a pretty cool story. We're liking that one. We like the Welsh dragon. And yes, I had a bit of fun with it. I know. I'm bad like that. I joke at the most inappropriate topics and occasions. It's just the way I roll, folks. But we're going back into the chat room now. Let's get some music on before we go in there. This has been a blast today. I've had good fun. I hope you have had fun too. Let's take a listen to this and I'll be right back. Polly. I was thinking we were getting into some one-eyed dragon stories too. Bizarre. I must admit, Nana, it's been a good one. It has. Been all about me and you out there. See, this is the way to roll, folks. I've got it sussed, man. Sussed, man, women. It, they. Oh, no. Oh, no. Am I going into the new comet retrograde? Q, my Welsh brother, he's in there. You see, I gave you a shout out earlier, dude. I remembered where you were from. You see? They don't call me GPS, KBS for nothing. In fact, they don't even call me KBS, GPS. So there you go. So the chat room, folks, let's have a look what's happening in there. Let's see what people are saying. People seems to have enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it, I must admit. I enjoyed it that much, I forgot to have my drink. I mean, what's going on there? Been good. Not even any coughing fits today. Did you notice that? I noticed that. No coughing fits. Touch wood, touch hairy wood, touch the one-eyed dragon. I think we're all right, folks. I think we're doing well, right? Ah, indeed. Somebody's talking about the little bald-headed man in the turtleneck sweater. Indeed, Holly. Indeed, and I hope none of them were coming along in a car to pick you up. That would be utterly terrifying. Imagine a bald-headed man in a turtleneck sweater driving a car. The mind boggles, it truly does. So Valiant says, the optometrist, see, I'm good at that word, right? Says, your future's so bright, young dragon, you're going to need shades. Maybe he became a dragon in black, I don't know. Yes, if you want to join the Discord and continue this lunacy 24/7, email me over at kbsdiscord@protonmail.com. And I'll be going there right after the stream, as I always do, to induct a few new recruits into this electronic Discord army that's never going to change the world. So then, what else have we got in the chat room? Susie, great show. Thank you. You helped to make it great. No coffee today, Holly, no. I had a pot of tea, a very English pot of tea. Scots drink pots of tea as well, but people seem to think it's like an English thing. Dead, I agree. You know, I hate to say that. But definitely awesome topics today. Bloody Apex TV. They didn't trigger me as much as they usually do. Just make a whole mockery of that chrononautic adventures that I like to get into. His axe is dragon now. Oh, brilliant, Holly. Brilliant. Yeah, it's mad in here. It truly is ZX, isn't it? That's the way I want it to be. I wanted it to be built in our image. We're joking, folks, but it's cool, right? Uh-oh. The deep state are coming. Hear that music in the background there? That means we're all going to Gitmo. So it says we release dragons on Ruby Day. Cool. Absolutely cool. Oh, nobody wants a dose of that, Holly. Absolutely nobody. Any man or anything that still identifies as a man, maybe some women too, could tell you that fireballs is a thing that you don't want to have. Definitely not. Especially in the summer. A pot of tea, that's posh. In the East End of Glasgow, not much posh going on here. Bald is kind of cool. There's bald and then there's bald though, Nana, right? And I don't know how to do this. The things I say, I think I'll get away with, but then when I play them back in my head, maybe I should just keep them to myself, right? Lex Luthor on Smallville was hot. I'll take your word for that, Annabelle. I really will. Hey, not that I've got anything against bald men, they just ain't my type. That's all I'm saying. They just don't do it for me, I'm afraid. So what else have we got coming up in the chat room? In this new studio, it's a bit behind, so I get to kind of chillax, and I've sometimes forgot what I've spoke about 30 seconds ago, so I have to really kind of jog the memory. I have to time travel in my dome to try and remember what I was talking about for what people were answering. There we are, we've got the cool music on. See if the Men in Black turned up with this music on, that would take the edge off it, right? They open the car door, a bit of this kicks in. That would make the whole Men in Black thing utterly bizarre, right? Or if Slender Man came into the room. Telling you, all these horror characters and scary people need is the right soundtrack. Freddy Krueger. Not scary now, right? See? You see, that's what we need to do, folks. We need to walk around with, like, a playlist with, like, these tunes on it. So when something scary's happening, we can just... And maybe, right, we'll, like, double bluff the ghosts or the Men in Black and they'll be like, whoa. Maybe that could glitch the Matrix. Something, an event that's meant to be stressful and really taxing on your mind, and you just crack open the... Maybe get out the clown horn. I don't know. I've lost the plot. Lost it. When were druids here? We were druids here in Scotland. Yep. Looking forward to 3 from Hell Rob Zombie's new movie. Oh, yes. Can't beat a bit of Rob Zombie, man. Can't beat it. Nah, exactly. And that's private conversation going on there in the chat room between the ladies. I don't know. They just come in here and they sit there gossiping away. I had other stories today, folks, that would have triggered me, but I'll be getting into these on the show tonight on KBS. I'll let the headline do the talking. There might be a rant or two over on the Kev Baker show tonight. There might well be a rant or two. There'll be a laugh or two as well, though. Yeah, so we'll be getting into lots of that stuff. And a story from the Discord server. A little funny one for tonight over on the Kev Baker show. But folks, we're out of time. We're truly out of time here. Half said I just ran the bath and flooded the kitchen. Oh, no danger, dude. No danger. Yep, we were Gordon. We were druids, pagans, bad people, a lot of us. Rant. You better believe it, Kristen. I'm going to be on my high horse later on today. And if you identify as a horse out there, I'm not insulting you. Half Q, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. Please, accept my apology. And I'll be back same time, same place tomorrow, folks. If you want to support yours truly, I'm not going to save the world. I'm probably not even going to enlighten you all of that much. But I'll be here. I'll be sharing my very unique form of wit or unwit, half-wit probably. I'll be sharing links. I'll be doing what we do, okay? And if you want to support that, and if you can, only if you can, consider being a member of the channel. You can do a super chat before I go. You can also, and me love you long time for $5. Doesn't matter if it's $5. PayPal links are in the description as well. My good friend, the STREAMLABS bot, has been posting them throughout the show. That's why I don't have to sound like some electronic LARPing beggar and say it all the time. So again, folks, I'll be here whether you can support the stream or not. I'll be back tomorrow on the Safe Space stream. And don't forget tonight, I think it's yours truly hanging out on KBS exclusively on TFRlive.com. So until next time, you take care, keep your minds open, but not to the point where you become a topic on my show because your brain turned to black goo.